जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Thank you for joining. Today we are discussing verse number 44 of chapter number 2 from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And previously in verse number 41, Krishna is describing two categories of people. The first category of people is Vyavasayatmika Buddhir. And these people they are resolute in purpose and they have one pointed attention. Ekeha Kurunandana. Their attention is one pointed. So they are completely focused in their goal. And then Krishna talks about the second category of people. So second category of people are Bahu Sakha hi Anantascha Buddhayo Avyavasayinam. So those people who do not have one pointed intelligence and they are not focused on their goals. Their intelligence is many branched. So in verse 42 and 43, Krishna is describing more about their activities. Those who are multi-branched or many-branched. So Krishna says that men of small knowledge act only for opulence and enjoyment, and they follow and consider only those portions of Veda that grants material boons. So Krishna is explaining that these people who are having distracted mind, they are actually looking for enjoyment, and they're looking for enjoyment through Vedas. So in Vedas there are three different sections. One is Jnana Kanda, other is Upasana Kanda, and the other is Karma Kanda. So Karma Kanda of the section of Vedas describes how to improve material happiness, whereas Jnana Kanda talks about philosophical knowledge, and Upasana Kanda talks about how to worship Lord and the Devatas. So people who are not intelligent enough or they are ignorant, and the reason of their ignorance is because of their attachment to sense gratification. So they want good birth, heavenly planets, power, women, wine, somaras, etc., etc. So they get attracted to the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas, and they perform this austerity to achieve the heavenly planet. So why they are doing all this? Because they are desirous of two things. One is sense gratification or sense enjoyment and material opulences or opulent life. And when they read this Karma Kanda section of Vedas, they think that there is nothing more than this. And because they are only thinking that this will going to give me the whatever I want, and which is the heavenly opulence and material heavenly opulence and sense gratification. So their mind is actually lacking knowledge, and that is hence they are actually bewildered. Because of the attachment, they lack in knowledge, and hence they are bewildered. So what happens to these people is explained more in this today's verse number 44. So let's read verse number 44. Chapter 2, 44 is Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya aprita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadhav na vidhiyate. In the mind of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such thing, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So this verse is very important for someone who wants to practice spiritual life. So let's understand this term, the Sanskrit term, very clearly. So let's start with the first line, which is line A, Bhogashwarya Prasaktanam. So Bhogashwarya Prasaktanam means Bhoga and Ashwarya. These are the two words. They are combined together. So when one is attached to Bhoga and Aishwarya, then what happens? That is Taya Aparhita Chetasam. So because they are attached to the sense gratification, Bhoga is sense gratification, and Aishwarya is material opulence. So then what happens? Taya apaharita chetasam. So once consciousness, apaharan means in Hindi it is called as kidnapping. So once consciousness is abducted, chetasam is the consciousness. So once consciousness becomes abducted or kidnapped. Earlier, Arjuna is actually discussing in verse number 1.37, Lobopataha chetasaha. So there Arjuna is talking about that our consciousness is being abducted by lobha. This is verse number 1.37. And because it is abducted by lobha, that is why we are contemplating killing our swajana or relatives for the sake of wealth. Krishna later refutes that argument by saying that the whole calculation of enjoyment and wealth is based on ignorance of self. Basically, we are thinking that we are this body. So because of that ignorance, that we don't know that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So Krishna refutes by explaining the science of soul. So coming back, so when one's consciousness is abducted, taya aprita chetasam, then one can't think clearly. So what happens? Vyavasayatmika buddhi. So this is the first part of verse number 41. So vyavasayatmaka buddhi, or one-pointed intelligence. Then what Krishna is saying? Samadhau na vidiyate. Samadhau na vidiyate means the controlled mind or samadhi is no longer possible. So when there is no one-pointed intelligence, then transcendental destination, that is samadhau, is no longer achieved. So this is a very nice verse to meditate upon and understand it very clearly, so that we can apply this in our life. So from verse 41 to 44, Krishna is saying in the 41 that you have to be fixed. And if you are not fixed, you will not attain transcendence, or you will not become transcendental. So who are not fixed? So those who are attached to material things, they are not fixed. Therefore Krishna advises to Arjuna that do not be attracted to material things or temporary material enjoyments. So this is very significant for all of us who wants to practice spiritual life. So here we see this person is performing all kind of rituals and sacrifices, and then the wealth is being showered upon by the demigods. So this point is very significant for all of us in our spiritual life. We know that how actually attachment to the material things blinds us. We become blinded by this. We get attracted to the matter, and we think that matter is all in all. So, but at the end of the life, we have to lose everything. So we have to ask ourselves a question, that how much do I have to lose before I lose this blindness of material covering. So how much do I have to lose before I lose my blindness? And the example can be given of Dhritarashtra. He was physically blind, so that was one fact. But he was not only physically blind, but he was also mentally blind. His mind was also blind. And that mind was blind because of his excessive attachment to his son, specifically Duryodhana. And so many people during that time, they gave him very, very good advice. And these people were like Vidura or Bhishma, Drona, even Sanjaya, Vyasdev, Narad Muni, and many, many others. They all tried to help him to get out of this attachment. But nothing worked actually. He had to lose everything before he lost his mental blindness. He lost his 100 sons, he lost his dignity, and he became very old, and at that time he had to lose everything. Later on, Vidura comes and cuts all the bondage, and then when he lost everything, after that, Vidura comes and he chastises him, and then he listens to the words of Vidura, and Vidura's word could actually cut through his illusion when he lost everything. So consequences of our blindness to this material attachment is very, very detrimental for all of us. And how do we overcome it? So by acquiring spiritual knowledge through studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And when we study Bhagavad Gita, then we become equipped to cut through this attachment one by one. And if we do not cut the attachment, then we have to pay for it. What is the payment? The payment is nothing but continuous or repeated cycle of birth and death in this material world. So along with birth and death, there are many other things that comes in. That is all the sufferings we have to go through this life, or in different lives, we have to go through all the suffering: birth, death, old age and disease. Then there are other 3 types of other tapatraya. Misery is caused by my own body and mind, misery is caused by other living entities, misery is caused by the devatas. So one has to think about all these things. So this is what should be our contemplation. So when we study the scriptures, these examples from the scriptures help us to understand that how we are entangled in this bhoga and aishwarya. Until we are engaged in this bhoga and aishwarya, our one-pointedness in performing buddhi yoga will not happen. So when we study scripture and we start cutting the attachment one by one, then what happens? Gradually we will be able to prioritize the activities in our life. So we will be able to prioritize and perform those activities which will help us eternally. So this other word, there is another word which is taya aprahita chetasam. Aprahita chetasam. So aprahita is a very graphic word. Aprahita means abduction or kidnapping. For example, somebody kidnaps a child and then later on they ask for ransom. So similarly, our consciousness normally would like to go towards Krishna, but suddenly the kama means lust or desires or lobha, etc., they come and abduct our consciousness, and then we experience chains of thought, and we start contemplating or planning on how are we going to enjoy this, whatever kama or lobha that has captured our mind. So our consciousness gets kidnapped in this way. And then what is the demand of the kidnappers? Because these kidnappers will generally demand something. So what is the demand of those kidnappers? So the kidnappers in this case is lust and greed, and their demand is indulgence. It means they want us to act on those thoughts which has been presented to us. And we start thinking that this desire is troubling me so much. So let's indulge in it, and then the desire will go away. Then I can become more peaceful and do whatever I want to do. So let me just get over it. So this is the thought which is going on in our mind. And so when we act, we may get some relief. That relief is actually temporary. So it is definitely you get some relief when you engage in those sense gratificatory activity, and some happiness is also there, but actually we are not released. So there is a 2 word, one is relief and other is released. Relief means we get temporary relaxation, and that is temporary in nature only, and released means we are getting freedom from it. So if we want to get released, then we won't get it by indulgence, because indulgence makes the desire more stronger, And when the desire becomes stronger, we are in greater trouble. So therefore one has to be on constant guard that our mind is not getting abducted. So it's very important for a practicing devotee to be alert all the time. And when they are alert all the time, then their mind will not be abducted. So example can be given like the addiction. So it is very difficult to come out. When somebody starts, they are not addicted in the first day, but they do it one time, and then they are tempted to do it another time, and then that temptation becomes like very, very strong, and it is extremely difficult to come out of the addiction. But of course one can come out with strong willpower. The other way to come out is to redirect our consciousness with Krishna, or fill our consciousness with Krishna. So when our mind is filled with Krishna, then no one can abduct our mind. So we don't give any space between two activities, and both the activities or all the activities throughout the day should be centered around Krishna. So that way our mind is not abducted. So thought of Krishna is so powerful that it will protect us from all this kind of material attachment. So this is how this verse is so important for all of us who are practicing or who are willing to practice spiritual life. So these two things are extremely dangerous. One is bhoga or material enjoyment, and other is aishwarya or opulence. So if we are looking for this, then know for sure this vyavasayatmika buddhi will not happen. This resolute determination for devotional service will never happen. So continuing what Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, Prabhupada says, what is samadhi? So samadhi means fixed mind. Mind is fixed at one place. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti says, Samyug adhiyate sammin atma tattva yatha atmayam. When the mind is fixed, understanding the self, it is said to be in samadhi. So when we are focusing our mind on studying about or understanding about our original self, which is the soul, then we are said to be in samadhi. Fixed mind, fixed in samadhi. That is one-pointedness. So then Prabhupada says, for whom samadhi is not possible, samadhi is never possible for person interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. So when mind is interested in material sense enjoyment, then it is planning all the time, how can I enjoy through my senses? And the mind is in the bewildered state, so it is looking for enjoyment in various different ways, and it is not satisfied by one material enjoyment, so it goes into the next one. It tries to enjoy that particular sense object for some time, but it is not satisfied, because what is happening is the spirit, we are actually spirit soul, we are eternal in nature, and we are trying to derive happiness through matter, which is temporary. So these are two different things, matter and spirit. So spirit, when trying to derive enjoyment through matter, which is dead, it is never going to get any kind of enjoyment through those dead matters. It is just an illusion. So therefore it doesn't get enjoyment, so it is planning for the next one. It doesn't get enjoyment over there, so it will go to the next one, and this is eternally going on. So when we read scriptures, we understand this, that matter is temporary and we are permanent, and we are not supposed to enjoy this matter, because this is illusion. It will eternally keep us in the cycle of birth and death. So in order to get out of this illusion, the scriptures or studying the scriptures sincerely and scrutinizingly is very, very important. So Prabhupada continues that they are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. So material energy is actually engaging this, controlling the mind. Now this is all later explained by Krishna in the later verses. When Krishna talks about the three modes of material nature, he goes into depth of how the material energy is controlling our mind. But somebody who takes shelter of Krishna, then the Maya energy of Krishna doesn't disturb much. It'll try to disturb, but Krishna will protect. So this is what is the discussion in this particular purport, and this has been put into the presentation format for you to study. Now, Arjuna has a doubt that you are telling all this, whatever is discussed in last few verses, but isn't all these things are taught in Vedas and recommended by the Vedic literature? So the people who are following or doing the material enjoyment through Vedas, so they are just following the Vedas. So that is the question in Arjuna's mind. Hence, Krishna says that yes, these things are taught in Vedas. That is true. But you must rise above those three modes, because all this material sense enjoyment and opulence, those are within the three modes. So Krishna is saying, yes, in Vedas, these subject matters are discussed, but these are within the three modes. So Krishna in the next verse is going to tell Arjuna that you have to rise above the three modes, and that we'll discuss in the next sessions. So we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Pemanande Hari Bol.